Good morning, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty getting my screen up, but hopefully everyone can see it. And as it is 11:02, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Kathy Collins. I am the program manager for the Cultural Development Grant. I'm here today with Lisa Hill, who is the program manager for the Special Event Program Grant. We would ask just for a couple of housekeeping. If you would, please keep your mics muted and keep your questions to the end. And if we don't get to you for whatever reason, you can always email or call me. I am always available. What we're going to do today is go over the grant agreement, which you all should have received by now. And if you haven't, please let me know or check your junk or your trash. I did send all the documents out last week. So we're going to go over everything that needs to be signed and then returned, as well as the process for reimbursement and everything that goes into the grant process for fiscal year 2025. Now, some of the things I want to make sure everyone can understands exactly what's going on. So some of these things may seem a little bit repetitive, and I may repeat myself a little bit, and I apologize for that if I do. I want you to know, first of all, we need to understand that Hillsborough County requires every grant to have an executed grant agreement, and the grant agreement is your legal contract. So this is something that you need to carefully review, and it should be signed by whoever within your organization has the authority to bind the organization into a contract. You have to make sure that you are filling out all, yeah.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Again, just make sure that you're filling out all of the sections of the grant agreement. And please make sure that you note that there are certain sections that have to be signed before witnesses. And then there are certain pages that have to be notarized as well. Specifically, you need to sign page 10 before 2 witnesses, get it notarized on page 11, and then you'll also have to sign it before 2 witnesses on page E6. And everyone has to complete all of the sections, regardless of the number of employees that you have. Now, section or exhibit E is all about the equal employment opportunity information. So I'm going to go over real quickly that. First of all, I want everyone to understand that an employee is defined by someone who receives a W-2. This does not include any 1099 employees or volunteers. So only somebody for whom the organization pays withholding taxes and gets a W-2. So if you have no employees, you're going to fill out questions 1 through 9 as NA on E3, and then 0 on sections of all the sections of E5, and then you have to sign it. If you have 1 to 14, you have to provide an affirmative action policy statement, complete E5, and sign it. If you have 15 or more employees, you have to carefully answer E3 and E5 and make sure that you sign it. So if you send this back to me for whatever reason, everything is not completed, I will let you know. It has to be reviewed by a representative who will check everything to make sure that things are correct. Due this year is a human trafficking affidavit. This has to be filled out by everyone, and it has to be signed before a notary. Once you get everything signed for your agreement and all the sections, you're going to then return to me via email the fully executed grant agreement, the human trafficking affidavit, which has been signed before a notary, a new signed and dated W-9 form, which we need a new one for each grant period, and a copy of your liability insurance. Once everything comes back to me from you, we put it into folders. And I do want to make sure that you all know that we wait until everyone has submitted their grant agreements before I send it off to the county representative to be signed. So that is why I kind of gave that final date of December 2nd to get these into me so that we can get everything done in a timely fashion. Once those have been approved and have been signed, you will then get it back a copy of the signed grant agreement for you to keep in your files with all the other information that you've done for this particular grant for 2025. And you need to also know that there is a requirement within the grant agreement that you keep documents for a certain number of years. So when I was a grantee, I used to keep everything separated by the fiscal year. That way you don't get mixed up and you don't know like where, you know where everything is. It's all in one spot. Now, once everything has been signed and has been returned, we can then move forward with, I will do things like I will get a purchase order for everyone. You get a supplier number. We set everything up in the county so that you can get your reimbursements. Please remember that the grant period for the cultural development grant for fiscal year 25 is October 1, 2024 through August 15th, 2025. There will be no reimbursements that will be accepted beyond August 15th. In addition, your reimbursements have to be submitted in sequential order according to the quarter. So for example, quarter one is October 1 to December 31. You can't submit quarter two before you submit quarter one. It has to be done in the proper order, and it all has to be submitted before August 15th. In addition, we're going to be using the Neighborly portal once again. So you will be able to see once you get into that how everything on that gets uploaded. It's really best that you use Neighborly. Try to avoid emailing things to me because they can get lost. They don't know where they are. If they're in the Neighborly, they're there and it stays there for, forever. So you're going to go back into Neighborly as you did with your grant. You'll use the same email and password that you did, and you just enter into your particular grant. And then you're going to, I'm going to skip over this for a second. You're going to go to this section. It's going to be on your left. You'll be able to see where it says reports. And under reports, there are two sections. There's the organization status report and the final report. You're going to click on organization status report and you're going to start the report. The exhibits that have to be attached to your reimbursement request include exhibits C and D, which you can find in your grant agreement. So if you can download those two, you can then make the changes that you need according to each quarter. Now, one thing I want to point out on Exhibit C, I want to make sure that everyone this year is kind of filling these out the same way. At the top, you're going to see request number. That means, is it the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? The month, it shouldn't really, it probably is not properly stated, but the month doesn't mean just a month. It actually means the months that the quarter is a part of. So if it's the first quarter, you would put October-December 2024. And then the amount that you're requesting is your quarterly amount. In your exhibits that you received as a part of your grant agreement, you'll see that I have filled in some of this information. So on the box part, I filled in the total amount agreement, total grant amount, the quarterly amount. And then at the bottom, you'll also see that there is like a final number. Because not all grants are going to be divided equally, your first three may not be the same as the last. Now, when you're filling this form in, your current request, let's just say, for example, you're doing the first quarter. You're going to put in whatever you're asking for in the current request. Because it's your first one, your year-to-date is 0. So then you take your current request, subtract it from the grant amount, and that's your remaining balance. You just have to make sure that you're filling that in. If it's not filled in properly, I have to kind of scratch through and I have to like put in the number, and it doesn't, it just looks a little sloppy. It would be nice if everyone could kind of remember that. And if you can't remember and you need to ask me, I'm only a phone call or an email away. Again, as I said, your grant is divided into 4 payments. Sometimes the last payment will be slightly less than the first 3. Exhibit D is also attached to the grant agreement, and this needs to be uploaded as a part of your reimbursement request as well. It's fairly straightforward. Again, the report period is going to be, say we're using quarter 1, October 2024 through December 2024. The percentage of the grant completed corresponds with the quarter. So if you are on the first quarter, you've got 25% completed. Then you want to tell us accomplishments, and you can always fill this out as like an attachment and just say see attached. If you're having problems, tell us what problems, and if you're not having any problems, just put NA. Under the third section, units of service provided is always going to be 1. That pertains to the current quarter that you're in. It doesn't, it's always 1. Then your annual report is, again, it corresponds with the quarter. So if it's quarter 1, it's October 24 to December 24. The report period is the same. I'm sorry, your annual goal is going to be according to the quarter. So if it's the first, second, or third, report period is the dates. Then year to date, however many you've completed. And again, the percentage completed is either 25, 50, 75, or 100%. Now, this has been, sometimes this can get confusing. With each one of these reimbursement requests, you're going to see in the neighborly section, there are things that you have to upload. You have to always provide us with quarterly and year-to-date attendance, profit and loss, and balance sheets. Now, when I say fiscal year or year-to-date, I mean your fiscal year. So let's take as an example, someone's fiscal year is July through June. For the first quarter, the quarter is going to be October to December. The year-to-date is going to be July to December. Then the second quarter would be January to March. Again, your year-to-date would be July to March. When you get to the point where your year-to-date and the quarter is the same, you only have to provide me with one of the attendance and one of profit and loss and one of balance sheet. If you can just keep that in mind, it'll be easy for you. I don't always know what everybody's fiscal year is. So if I don't get, 2 of everything, I may just email and say, hey, what's your fiscal year? Or you can somewhere on either exhibit E or D put fiscal year is. That way I'll know what your fiscal year is. But if anybody has any questions about that, please just let me know. Again, the fiscal year is your fiscal year, not, for the purposes of this, not the county's fiscal year. Now, for the cultural development grant, it's relatively easy. You're getting your operational support. So those items are all the things that have to be provided with each quarter. So now getting into logo and credit, I want you to make sure that this particular logo is the only one that you are displaying. I know there are some who have been with the Arts Council for a long time and also will present the old Arts Council logos. We need you to just remove those if you can and only use this particular logo. And if at any time you can't use the visual logo, just use the words with the support of Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Because this is a county-funded program, they need to receive proper credit on anything that is printed, digital. If you have a curtain call and you just thank the Board of County Commissioners for their funding, things like that will certainly work with respect to the logo and the credit. Now, we have a website, and admittedly, the website is sometimes not the greatest. And I know some people have some difficulty getting their events added to it. We want you to make sure that you do add your events. And if at any time you're having any difficulty with it, simply email me and ask me to either look or send me the information. I can upload it relatively easily if it's easier for you. We are working on getting a new website, which hopefully will be a little bit more user-friendly in the future. But we want to make sure if you have a concert coming up, we want people to know that you have a concert coming up. Now, this year, everyone is going to have to do a final report as they did for fiscal year 24. We have changed the date, however. It is now due September 30th instead of August 30th. And you'll find the final report on the neighborly site under the reports, under final report as it is here. You have to just fill out all the sections A, B, and C. Now, with the final report, which is again due by September 30th, you have to provide us with all of your financial information year to date and your attendance. We also would like to see some examples that you've used, that you've given the county proper credit. And we also are looking for like 1 to 2 quotes or testimonials from people who attended. We use these things for like in things like our annual report to show the extent to which the grants have been and have had an impact on the community. Now, one thing I want to point out, the final report itself, which asks a bunch of different questions, is due by September 30th. That is a non-negotiable date. I do understand that some organizations have to have their boards approve their financial documents before they can send it to us. That is fine. You can tell me that they will be here at, whenever they're available, you can let us know. But the report itself has to be done by September 30th. I would suggest that if you can get it done before September 30th, don't wait till the last minute to get it done. You don't want to make yourself ineligible for the next year's grant because you haven't gotten something done on time. And again, I can't emphasize enough the dates of the grant. You have to have your last quarterly reimbursement into me complete by August 15th, or it will not get paid. Now, I've kind of run through this fast, and I apologize for kind of the kerfuffle in the beginning with respect to the screen. So if you have any questions, please let us know. You can raise your hand now, and Lisa will let us know that you're asking. You can email me, or you can call. I do answer the phone whenever someone calls, and no question is too small or trivial. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions.
So Kathy, there is a couple chat questions in there.
Okay.
The first one is, will they receive the slide deck via email or posted to the website?
Yes, I will. At the end of today, I will turn this into a PDF and I will send everyone this webinar. And I do believe that we are recording it. So once the recording is available, if anyone needs that, I can send that as well.
And the other one is whether we have a target date for our new website to publish events, which you might know better.
I don't know. So I don't know anything about that, but if you're having trouble getting things put up, just let me know.
Can we apply for a quarterly reimbursement before the quarter has ended?
No, because you have to provide financial information that is through the end of the quarter. So you can't ask for something like, for example, you can't ask for quarter one now. You have to wait until December 31st. Now, in the past, the first year I was with the Arts Council, we were not requesting purchase orders and the reimbursements were taking a long time. Last year, or for 24, the reimbursements actually were coming in a lot faster. Now there is a new clerk of court. I don't know whether or not they will change any of the rules. So I would probably suggest that you go back to the idea that it might take somewhere like 4 to 6 weeks for reimbursements to come through. You were all provided with direct deposit information. If you don't have direct deposit, I strongly suggest that you fill that out and send that to the clerk's office. You do not send that to me. I have nothing to do with that. You can rest assured that if you send me your documents at the beginning of January and everything is in place with respect to the financials that I need and the attendance and everything, I will get them processed as soon as they come across my desk.
Okay. The next one is, in the final report, if inputting into Neighborly, it treats it like a request for a reimbursement and requires all forms, including the W-9 exhibits, etc. How do we get around that?
Okay, you may not be in the right, make sure you're actually in the final report. Because on the reports section, there are 2 reports that you fill out. The first one is the one that asks for all the information, and then the other one actually asks for different information. So just make sure you're not on the organization status report when you're trying to do the final report. And if there are, I will go back over today and look at the final report and make sure it's not asking for a lot of extraneous stuff. If it is, I will get with Neighborly and we will get it changed before it's due at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, that was the last question. Anybody else have any questions?
Again, if you do think of something after this webinar is over, please don't hesitate to either call or email me if you think of anything. And again, everyone will get a copy of this slideshow as a PDF so that you can review it with if you have any questions. And this stuff is not that difficult. It can just be cumbersome because we ask for a lot of information, but you know, I'm happy to walk anybody who may be new or has someone new to their organization that's doing this. I'm happy to assist as much as I can. I want you all to get all of your grant funds. I do not want anybody leaving anything on the table because they didn't understand how to do something.
Still not seeing anything, so I think questions are finished.
Okay, thank you everyone who attended, and again, I apologize for the kind of missteps in the beginning, but if you have any questions, again, please let me know. Thank you.